What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing Green Day's Nimrod. Now, this is another video in our Green Day content and another album that we are going to be reviewing. We've reviewed all the albums so far chronologically from the very beginning all the way up. We're going to be going through all the way to Revolution Radio, which I've already actually done a review of on the channel. Now, we're recording Nimrod. I got my Nimrod shirt, as you can see, so I'm ready to go. This is a very awesome album, in my opinion. This is one of my favorite, if not my favorite Green Day album. We talked about that in the Insomniac review. I mean, Nimrod, to me, very, very, very special album. A home of a lot of very good songs. Some songs that obviously made it mainstream, and especially Good Riddance for Time of Your Life, that really exploded Green Day, right? But also, every one of these songs, for the most part, there are a couple songs I have a couple problems with, but for the most part, every single song on this album has its own personality, has its own life, has its own sound, and I really, really love that. And I was kind of researching the album before I started recording this review and before I, listened to the songs, and one of the things Billy Joe Armstrong had said about this album is that's what he wanted to do. He didn't even expect Insomniac to sell as well as it did, and it didn't sell as well as Dookie, but it did sell very, very well, and he had talked about how he didn't really expect it to sell all that well, and he kind of himself realized that there wasn't a big jump. And we talked about that in Insomniac, that the jump from Dookie to Insomniac, still the whole 3-chord thing, and he even said, like, we want to be known more than that 3-chord band. And so going into this album, one of the main things he talked about was to make this album, have a life of its own, kind of take that step up. It has a lot of different influences from some of Billy Joe Armstrong's favorite bands of all time, and every song they want to sound unique. They really want to give this album a lot more life, and I think if you listen to the album first and then you read about that, or if you read that and then you listen to the album, you get it. You 100% get it. And I honestly didn't know he even talked about that. But one of the things I did talk about in the Insomniac review at the very, very end is when I listen to Nimrod, every song sounds special and every song has its own kind of life. I said that in the last video, and I think that's what honestly makes an album like American Idiot, and even honestly 21st Century Breakdown, it's what makes those so awesome and so unique, and some of my favorite albums, more than even Dookie. I mean, I honestly do believe I like American Idiot, 21st Century Breakdown, and Nimrod. Now, 21st Century Breakdown may get a lot of people upset, but, I just feel like these albums that have all these songs that sound so different, it's great. And Dookie has that too. I mean, Dookie, all of the songs do have their own life, but they are all kind of part of the same feel, and it's still Green Day. It still has the same catchiness. He still does play a couple songs that have, the 3, 4, 5 chord structure. It's still the same band. They're not going to completely change and be a completely separate band. Even their side bands and their side projects still sound like Green Day, okay? He is a songwriter, and he's made so many songs and so many albums over the last 25 years that, there's going to be similarities. They're all going to have that signature kind of sound. But you have to look and try and make each album and each song as different as you possibly can. And that's what I have admired about some of the later music that he's made, other than Uno Dos Tres, which kind of fell back into that problem that they had back in the Insomniac Dookie days. But Nimrod, with all that being said, super amazing album. I think the big songs of this album are super awesome. I think, Hitchin' a Ride, Nice Guys Finish Last, Redundant, Time of Your Life. Songs like that, those are the big hit songs, I'd say. Those were the singles. Those were the songs that a lot of people know. Those are the songs that they still kind of play live. Although they don't really play a lot of the songs from Nimrod. Nimrod is kind of just that album that kind of gets left behind, other than, I feel like, Good Riddance. I mean, that's the song that obviously has followed them. It's a song that they always do for their encore. And now with Ordinary World, now they do Time of Your Life and then Ordinary World as the encore with just Billy Joe. And I think that's awesome. I think it's a really cool thing. And with that being said, I mean, that's awesome that this song has stuck with them and it is so popular. And it's not one of those things where it became a radio hit and it became a radio hit by accident and nobody really likes it. It's not like that. I mean, it's a radio hit, and also people love the song. It's the very first song I ever learned how to play on the guitar, and I've been playing the guitar for 13 years, and I started learning the guitar just by reading, just by doing like sheet music, and then I wanted to start learning actual songs, and my dad introduced me to Green Day. They became my favorite band ever, and now they still are with the Smashing Pumpkins. So they go hand in hand, and Time of Your Life was the first song I said, I want to learn how to play the song, so I brought it to my guitar teacher, and he taught me how to play it, and it's the first song I ever learned, and I've never lost memory of how to play it, and it's honestly, I think, one of my favorite songs ever in any band to play on the guitar, so it is a special song. It is a song that's top 2, top 3 in Green Day history. But at the same time, the album itself has so many awesome songs. Songs like Scattered, songs like Uptight, Prosthetic Head. There are so many songs, basically every other song, I'd say, at least. Jinx, so many of these songs are very good and just are completely different and just have something really special, whether it's the guitar. A lot of these have the really nice guitar patterns and guitar kind of palm muting that he does. And then other ones have some really good vocals, and this is when we really, I think, start to take that jump. I mean, Time of Your Life, Scattered, kind of those kind of songs, and there's a few others that we'll go over in the album, really focus on his voice, and his voice carries way more of these, I think, redundant even. I mean, the guitar and how that song sounds and how it sounds so different, that is the signature sound of Redundant, but also his voice. So his voice really shines through in this album. I think this is the first time you can honestly say that. When you look at all the other albums, his voice is there, but it's more of the meaning of the song, or it's more of the fast-paced nature, or it's more of the drumming, or it's more of the cool bass stuff. It's that kind of stuff, like Welcome to Paradise, Basket Case, all this stuff. I mean, it does have to do with the lyrics, and people do kind of sing the lyrics and know what he's saying and all that stuff, but I feel like it has more of a sound, or the whole song overall. When it gets to Nimrod, and then especially Warning, and then American Idiot, his voice, he gets better at singing every single time. And I think he still literally does get better every time. I think it goes up from American Idiot to 21st Century Breakdown. I think Uno Dos Tres is better than that in terms of his vocals. And then I think Revolution Radio is the best. I do think he's gotten better with age at being able to sing. So Nimrod, honestly, amazing album. Either my favorite Green Day album or top two. I think this and American Idiot kind of go back and forth, but this is an album I just love so much. It's got some really catchy songs on the guitar. It goes back to a little bit more guitar solos. It really doesn't have that many guitar solos. It's still very chord heavy, but at the same time, it's more than Insomniac, which had 0 guitar solos in the entire thing. And even Dookie had almost next to nothing. They really stopped doing that after Kerplunk, and then they kind of brought it back here, and then Warning, they started to get back to the whole kind of what you think of with those kind of bands back in the day, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, where they got the song, they have the solo, that 30-second solo thing towards the end of the song, and then they come back with the chorus, and then they're done. That's kind of what they started to morph into, and I think Nimrod is that first attempt and first jump there. But this is honestly an amazing album. So now, if you guys have watched any of our other videos, we go through and we talk about every single song on the album. So let's jump right in with the first song, Nice Guys Finish Last. Fantastic song. It's a song that Billy Joe Armstrong had said is trying to pave the way from Insomniac to Nimrod. It's got a lot of Insomniac feel to it, and it's getting people ready for what Nimrod is going to be. And I agree. I mean, I never honestly thought of that. I honestly never did. It's a very catchy song. It's a very fast-paced song. But when you do listen to it, it has the tempo, it has the guitar kind of structure, and the heaviness. And a couple of these songs have that heaviness that Insomniac did have. They still have whatever they did have in Insomniac. They still have it here, but just not as much. And they're trying to, again, change the way they're doing their songs. This is a song that reminds you of Insomniac, but also does just sound different. It could be age, it could be the fact that this came out 2 years later, and it just sounds a little bit different, and it does get people ready for the next, a group of songs. And I think this album starts out extremely good. Maybe one of the best, if not the best, openings to any of their albums. I think American Idiot also does a fantastic job with American Idiot, Jesus of Suburbia, Holiday, Boulevard. I mean, every single song on that album is perfect. But, those 4 songs and these 4 songs are unique. They're all different. They're all very catchy. They're all very awesome. And I think he does a really good job opening this up. This is a way better opening than Insomniac is. And then we get to Hitchin' a Ride. Very fun song. I mean, the guitar is very catchy, and then obviously when it gets into the very heavy part towards the end of it, sounds a little bit like what you would think of with like a Dookie kind of sound to it, but very catchy, very fun to listen to. A song that they still play live, and it's very fun to play live, and they get the crowd involved into it. So this is a fantastic second song, a fantastic follow-up, a song that's different. It's got the guitar, it's got the drums, it's got the signature Green Day. But they also take, kind of, there's also instrumental parts where they really just hit you very, very hard and very, very heavy, and that's truly awesome. And then number 3 is The Grouch, and The Grouch is honestly one of my personal favorite songs. So this is kind of that example of a song where you get this, honestly, throughout the entire album, where you get the big songs, and you know the big songs' names, right? You get Nice Guys Finish Last, you get Hitchin' a Ride, we're going to get Redundant, we're going to get Time of Your Life, but then there's these in-between songs, and in a lot of other Green Day albums, those in-between songs kind of fall through, where you don't remember them, or they're not very catchy, or again, they don't have the life to them. The biggest problem with those middling songs at the end of Dookie, and really all throughout Insomniac, basically every other song in Insomniac, is they don't really separate themselves from one another. They don't have something about them that makes them unique, whether it's the lyrics, or the vocals, or the guitar, or the catch to it. It doesn't have what makes it unique, and this is different. I think a lot of these songs, even the songs I'm not the biggest fan of, like Take Back even, those songs still sound so different that at least which, I mean, I can look at these songs and I know exactly how they sound. I can hear them being played in my head, which you can't always do for every Green Day song, but The Grouch is a fantastic song. I really, really like it. I like the catchiness. I like the back and forth on the guitar. I like that it's heavier. I like the kind of solo part in the middle to endish, even though it is kind of just him playing the chords on the guitar without any singing being shown, although there is a little bit of some solo-ish acts going on there. But this is a really, really good song. It's very, very catchy. I love his voice in it. I mean, this is just an overall really amazing song. This is a song that I love playing on the guitar. I think it's one of the most catchy songs on the album. I think that's what helps it stand out. And then we have Redundant, which is one of my personal favorite Green Day songs. I think it's a song that obviously was a very, very big hit in Nimrod when it first came out. Very, very amazing song. It's got some great vocals. I love the vocals. It's got the signature sound that is just something that up to that point we had never heard. The effects that he was doing with the guitars and with that and with just the instruments in general, we had not yet heard that from Green Day. And it's really, you can listen to every single Green Day song, and Redundant, I feel like, almost sticks out the most. And if you want to put it even in the category of the best Green Day songs or the biggest Green Day songs, it also stands out the absolute most. Not necessarily for being the best song in the world, but because it just sounds so different and it's just so unique. And that uniqueness and that signature sound of Redundant has always stuck around. They don't really even play the song all that much, but I love it when they do, and I love hearing the song. I love the music video. I think the music video is very, very clever. This is easily one of my favorite songs on the album. And again, this is, the first 4 songs on this album, super, super amazing, and it doesn't even really slow down after this. Because then we have Scattered and All the Time. Now, Scattered, in my opinion, is a fantastic song. I really, really, really like Scattered. I love the catch to it. I think it's a very, very catchy song. I love his vocals. I think his vocals in the song is one of those songs that is carried by his vocals, and you don't get that with every single song on this album. I mean, again, there is going to be a drop-off. Scattered, All the Time, Worry Rock, these kind of songs, they aren't the signature Green Day songs. People can still maybe get them confused, although Scattered, the word Scattered is said in the song multiple times. But these are songs that, they kind of left behind in the past. They don't really play these songs live. It's songs that don't really get all the love they deserve, but Scattered is a fantastic, fantastic song. Honestly, one of my favorite songs in the entire album. So I'd say the first 5 songs are all very, very different. None of them sound the same. Okay, even The Grouch and Scattered are not the same songs, and I feel like in other albums that would then get a problem. And All the Time is a little bit more of that generic kind of Green Day. It's got the several chords, although even towards the end they kind of mix up, they kind of make it a little fun to listen to. And the whole song is fun to listen to, but I feel like All the Time is more of that classic Green Day. And that is another one that I do feel like is a blend between Insomniac and Nimrod. I think it's one of those blend songs, but a very, very good song for sure. I think that's the first drop-off. I think the first 5 songs, I can honestly go back and forth, and if I had to rank them, I'd be like, it would be very hard, because Scattered is underratedly one of my favorite songs, and The Grouch is, and yet, Hitchin' a Ride and Nice Guys Finish Last are top-level songs, and Redundant is a top level. So, like, how do you even put those 5 in order? But I feel like all the time it's pretty easy to say, here's the first 5, and then here's all the time it's below it. And that's not a bad thing. I think even American Idiot, has those songs that I feel like aren't to the level of the best songs on the entire album. They're all very, very consistently very high, but there are just a couple songs that are just underneath, and I feel like All the Time is that song on this album. Then we have Worry Rock and Platypus I Hate You in parentheses. Now Platypus I Hate You is that very, very heavy song, very insomniac level, but again, very, very unique. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I mean, I don't listen to it over and over again. It's very, very catchy. It's extremely, I'll say it like 10 times because it's so fast. I mean, it's a really fast-paced song, but it's a really fun song to listen to. I don't think it's a bad song at all, and I think, again, one of the strengths of this album is it the same quality or the same level as those first couple songs or the songs that you may think are the best songs of the album? No, I mean, it depends on the person. Maybe you like this kind of music and maybe that is one of your favorite songs on the album. But what I will say, and to give it credit, is it's just different. It's different, it's unique, it doesn't sound like any of their songs. You can get into it. And same thing with Uptight. I mean, it's the exact same thing. It's a very good song. I feel like Uptight and All the Time can get kind of confused a little bit because it does have the same kind of vibe to it. But again, still different enough where you can say they're all unique in their own way. I think they're the closest kind of batch of songs that are like each other, but still, again, I mean, you look at them and then you can all kind of separate them. So it's a weaker-ish middle. It's not the greatest middle of an album in the world, but again, to give them credit, at least they're trying different things. At least it's diverse. At least they're doing things they didn't do before. And at least that when you listen to this album, you're going on a ride, right? And then all of these songs are very, very different, and you get to listen to a lot of different things that Green Day is experimenting with and just trying out, and you have to give them props for that. And I think I said Uptight before. I meant Worry Rock, but Worry Rock is a very, very good song. They're all good songs. Uptight is up next, and then Last Ride In. Now, Uptight is, again, part of that. I think Worry Rock and Uptight sound different enough where you wouldn't get them necessarily confused. And again, still maybe kind of same category as All the Time. Those 3 songs kind of fall into place, so I don't really have all that much to say with Uptight, although very catchy, very, very, Green Day-ish. And then we get to the Last Ride In. Now, I've always had a beef to grind with this song, and it's tough. It honestly goes back and forth because I get it, and they've done this kind of stuff, especially with that Foxborough Hot Tubs that they did as a side project back in like 06, 07. They've done this before, but this was obviously before that, where it's the whole instrumental. It's just all instruments, and man, I don't know. Like, I like the song. It sounds like they're on a beach. It sounds like it's a very summery song. Like, it literally makes me think that I'm on a beach and I'm enjoying, like, a summer vacation, drinking, I don't know, lemonade and watching the waves kind of roll up. Because it does actually, I think, even have the wave sounds, right? It's got the water sounds to it. So, I mean, I don't know why it's on this album. I do feel like it doesn't blend with any of the other songs. And, I mean, I just got done saying that all these songs are unique and different, and that's a strength of it. I'll give it to them. This is different. This is unique. This is not the same as the other ones, so, I'll do that. But at the same time, like, does it go with this album? Does it go with the new kind of Green Day? Not really, considering they never did it again in any Green Day song. I think it's just, I don't know, maybe something they wanted to experiment with and something they tried, and it worked maybe for that album, but they've never gone back to it. But, I'm not the biggest fan of this song. Jinx and Hashinka are next, and Jinx, what I like about this is Jinx jumps right back into it. I kind of like, here's the thing, with Last Ride In, it does, I feel like, kind of break the album right there in the middle, and it is so different, but what I do like is how they use it. They kind of do use it as like an intermission, and I don't know if that's the real reason. I don't know if they've ever talked about that song. I haven't looked it up, but I feel like when you listen to it, it's like a break from all of the stuff you've heard of the first, 8, 9 songs, and then right after it, they even do like the Trey Cool, you hear them say 1, 2, 3, 4, and they go into Jinx. So it's like that is literally used as an intermission, and then they jump back in, and Jinx is a very fast, very heavy, not necessarily as heavy as Platypus, but pretty heavy. And I really do like this song. I think it's very fast-paced, and I like that it goes hand-in-hand with Hashinka, or however you say that word. I mean, it even says it's a girl with a peculiar name. Very true, because I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but I like how the songs go into each other, and they've done that with a lot of songs in the past. They do that with Brain Stew into Jaded, and they do that with in songs like American Idiot, or they do it in the album of American Idiot, and even 21st Century Breakdown. I like it when they do that. I honestly really, really like it when they do that. I think it works really, really well because they don't exactly sound the same. I honestly like Hashinka more, and it goes into a very different kind of song, but it's the ending of Jinx and the beginning of Hashinka blend, and they make it so there is that nice transition, and then you get into some really nice songs. So I mean, these two songs are definitely bounce back songs. They're songs that are more fun, more fast paced, more enjoyable to listen to, and I love both of them. Walking Alone is next, and I really like Walking Alone. Walking Alone along with Scattered, I feel like, are kind of that more not like melodramatic, like kind of more lower, where it's kind of more calm and more, it's just letting him sing and letting the guitar do its thing. They have the similar themes, because I feel like the palm muting of both of them are the signature kind of sound in terms of the music, and then his vocals are the top of the game, are what carry both of those songs. I feel like, honestly, that's what makes me like both of those songs. I think Walking Alone also is the one with the harmonica, right? So he does some different things, and I really like this song. I think this is one of the best songs on the album, an underrated song, a song that I don't think a lot of people talk about or even listen to, because then we get Reject right after it, and this is a faster paced song. It's not as heavy as one more song later in this album, but it is more heavy, it's more Insomniac sounding. It's a very good song. I mean, again, what I like about it is I'm not the biggest fan of how heavy it is, and I don't listen to the song over and over again, but it's still different than all the other heavy songs on this album. So even when they get into the trap of having a couple of these heavier, basically just like 3-chord, very hard in your face rock songs, they still all do sound a little bit different. They have something about them that sound a little bit different. And again, you can't say that for some of their earlier work. Then we have Take Back, and Take Back is that very heavy song. A song that's very short, a song that, in my opinion, this is easily the weakest song of the album. There's just nothing to this song that necessarily grabs me. And honestly, it makes way for just a much better King for a Day, which is a song that so many people obviously very much love. It's honestly a song I constantly forget is even on this album, but it's obviously a song that they have made such a big deal of, in a good way, in their tours, right? Where they have everybody come out, and they have Jason Freeze, and they do the whole where they all go on the ground and they blend it into other songs, and fantastic. It's a really awesome song. It sounds, it's kind of like that scat kind of thing. It's so much fun. It's fun to play on the guitar. It's fun to listen to on the album. I think it's a perfect placement for the song right before Good Riddance. Just amazing song. Really fun to listen to it live when he gets the cape and the hat and all that stuff. Super good, and it's really been a staple of their live track, of their entire live touring shows ever since that song first came out. So I really love that it's so special to them. I love that it's just a fantastic song, and it's so much fun for them to mess with and do all sorts of things with. It's a great song. And then we get to Good Riddance, which again, what am I going to really say that hasn't already been said about the song? It's amazing. It's a fantastic song, written as a kind of tragic song, right, about him breaking up with his girlfriend, or them kind of leaving. And it kind of taken in a better way. Honestly, a lot of people see it as a good thing, a time of your life. He literally wrote that song in a negative way, negative emotions of talking about it in a kind of a pessimistic kind of way, and yet he literally uses it, and everybody kind of sees it also as the song of remembering, hope you had the time of your life. And people take that as a good thing, right? He even says that at the end of he plays at the end of the tour, or the end of the live show, to kind of say, hope you guys had an amazing time with us for this whole show. It's a good thing. It's a positive song, and it's really cool that it honestly wasn't even meant to be that way. I like how they kept the beginning where he messes up twice. I think that's awesome. The actual guitar where he does the 2 chords and then he goes up on the strings. I mean, awesome. I mean, really catchy, really fun to play. Very classic, a guitar kind of sound that's very classic to Green Day and really to the entire music industry. This song just knocks it out of the park. And then we got Prosthetic Head, which is really good. Very reminiscent of FOD, or F-O-D, at the end of Dookie, where it's the very, it's got the acoustic, it's very quiet, it's just him singing for the first half of it, and then it just punches you in the face, and it really goes in there, and it really goes very heavy, and that's kind of got the really cool outro to the song, too. So a really awesome way of ending the album as well. So there you have it. There's Nimrod. Fantastic album, really from start to finish. A couple weak songs in there, a couple songs that maybe sound alike, like, but for the most part, an album that just is so unique and has just so many different songs that sound so unique and just separated from one another, and honestly making it one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Green Day albums. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if you made it this far, which I'm sure one of you or maybe two has, but what you thought of Nimrod. And again, we've been reviewing all Green Day albums. In 2 weeks we're going to be back, maybe 3, I don't actually honestly know, but the next time we are back we're going to be reviewing Warning, an album that is honestly one of my favorites as well, an album I think is gotten more love recently, and we will talk about that in that album review. So Warning is next, our 2000 album, and I hope to see you guys there.